A note on my man Godfrey. This is a comedy, an excellent one, included in fact by both AFI, American Film Institute, on its list of best 100 comedies. Um, Actually, come to think of it, one could check the list of best 100 movies altogether, and it might be that too. It's on the New York Times list of best 1,000 movies ever made, and I'm sure other important, prestigious compilations as well. Um, it is a satire in some ways, and it has some worthwhile themes such as rich and their life of leisure and extravagance and excess, the poor and what they have to put up with. Les extrêmes se touchent, one saying has it, and so the attraction between the two. But I just say that is wrong. I think, in fact, based on psychology studies, that people with more or less the same interests, the same sophistication, education would get along better. If you say, like in this one, a woman who is traveled, educated, aware of the world, would go along well with a butler. I don't think that's really going to work in practice, unless, of course, there will be some circumstances. There will be the exception to the rule. So then the general idea is that one has to be involved with those of the same, as I said, the same level of education, more or less, and interests. And because if there's just a physical attraction, and once the enthusiasm, the excitement of attraction is gone, one has to communicate, to talk with. And what is the um, uneducated janitor going to talk with a Harvard graduate? Let's say, a football game all the time? It's true, here it's more complicated than that, because the butler in question is not really a butler. He is found at the dump, in the garbage hole of the city. But that's just because we're talking depression, and he's has fallen off a cliff. He used to belong to the society. He's educated, and it's another saying which is presented here, that appearances deceive. Supposedly, I disagree with that. When you see someone, that tells you a lot about him or her. If he's a beggar on the street, chances are he's not really a philosophy professor or Einstein in distress. He's just someone who drinks a lot, smells bad, and lives on the streets. We can have compassion, but we must not think this is a prince which was turned temporarily into a frog. That's my point of view, and I think there are plenty of arguments for this in Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking, a classic of psychology by Malcolm Gladwell. Of course, there would be 1 in 1,000 or 10,000 who is a prince in disguise, but that's just 1 in 10,000 or more. So, Godfrey has been at the top. The depression took him down, and he's at the dump. He's living there, homeless, and he's found by this. Let me see the names. This family. They're the superfluous rich, and in search of new entertainment, they play a scavenger game, wherein they're not looking for treasure, but they're looking for outlandish, extravagant, outre things. And then a judge would just say this is the winner because he has the most absurd proposition. So we'll take him, Godfrey. He's the last man. There's also a goat taken from somewhere to be part of the contest. And Godfrey is also is then engaged as butler. There's a sort of a love story. A rich woman is attracted by the butler. In fact, that's why he becomes a butler. And there's a lot of humor, so the comedy is interesting with all sorts of good lines. May I be frank? Oh, is that your name? No. My name is Godfrey, but may I be frank, in the other sense. He is critical. You're lazy, extravagant, you do nothing. And there's prosperity around the corner, but I don't know which corner. Mrs. Bullock has this goat, and her husband is talking at the bar, and look, is your girl with a goat? That's Mrs. Bullock. And he knows this is Mr. Bullock. Oh, I'm sorry. How do you think I feel? He's worse than sorry. And there's a ridiculous story that he has, invented by a friend, that he has a Indian wife. This was a bit racist, but we must consider this is maybe 8 years ago. He has 5 kids, and as in a comedy of errors, the truth is revealed at one point about the identity of Godfrey.